We'll call this meeting to order. First up is roll call. Council at Large Cummins.
Here.
At Large Postian.
Here.
Council Ward number 1 Hembry. Ward number 2 Helm.
Here.
And Ward number 3 McNeil. Here. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright, so if there are no additions to the agenda, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Cummins with the first.
Second.
And Helm with the second.
Cummins? McNeil?
Yes.
Helm?
Yes.
Postian?
Yes.
All right, now we get to communications. There is someone scheduled, but they are not here at this second. So we'll go to unscheduled. Yep, we'll go to unscheduled, though. We do have somebody else who wants to talk. So just come up and give us your name for the record.
Okay, my name is Christy Cruz. I live at 507 Horizon Drive. It was 2 days after a snowstorm, and the streets and sidewalks were all nice and melted. My husband and I often walk to run errands in town as a form of exercise. We were walking south on Plum Street toward the high school where there are no sidewalks. A car was coming, so like we always do, we moved into the gutter single file facing traffic to be as safe as possible. Most people do slow down and move over when they see us, but many do not. There was some hardened snow with slush on top of the gutter, and I slipped and I fell hard, twisting my ankle. And this injury is still affecting my mobility and ability to exercise 6 weeks later. I don't expect anybody here to be super concerned about my injury or sympathetic, except that guy, my husband over there. He has no choice. But it did underscore for me the concern that's been around for quite a few years that that section of Plum Street is just not safe for pedestrians. That part of Plum Street is a main artery for students walking to and from school. It's a farm to market road. It's heavily used by vehicle traffic. There's also events at the park, and a lot of times those end after dark, and then that creates even more chaos and confusion and possible concerns for pedestrians versus vehicles. I know that this council is not responsible for the past lack of code enforcement, which leaves us with no easy solution for that section of Plum Street. But I'm here to ask this council to brainstorm ideas to provide a safe route to the high school for this part of Tipton. We really appreciate the extra wide sidewalk that has been put in by the city there, but it doesn't go all the way to the high school. So I was wondering, is there a way to continue that and then maybe jog over a block or two to get a sidewalk route to the high school? Or with the bicycle, is it a bicycle trail or there's some kind of trail that's being planned through the park? Could we use a sidewalk through another section of the park and connect to that, just to make a safe route to get to the part of town that does have sidewalks, where we could walk and be safe. And I feel that a solution to the problem is of crucial importance in order to prevent a future tragedy for the town. I thank you for your time and consideration for the safety of Tipton students and pedestrians. Thank you.
Thanks,
All right,
Christine.
thank you.
And I've traveled that road often to go home, and she's spot on, just so everyone knows,
Yes.
unfortunately.
It's too bad that Steve doesn't happen to be here. I remember when I first started, it came up, and as it was, maybe you folks know more about it too, but as it was told to me, there is a very tight right of way there. And the reason why that, it was like a path that was lined off
Mhm.
was because there wasn't adequate room. Either you were gonna get into front yards or need retaining walls, and so it wasn't pursued due to the lack of room. So I think we can look at it again and, maybe, as we have these engineers in town, maybe have them look at that while they're here. Maybe they've got a new take on it that we haven't thought of. I wanted to ask if I could, if I understood you right, we were talking about doing a trail segment that would go from the four-way stop, and then it would go along 130 and then cross, and then go along the football field area and then move up to Park Road, but it would be more aimed at the parking lot at the aquatic center. In your idea, and I'm sorry if I misheard this, in your idea, were you talking about maybe an offshoot of that would go like,
Closer
Yeah, I
to the
was
tennis
wondering
courts.
if it.
Yeah, like
go
behind the tennis
the
court.
stadium and connect to that trail or something.
sort of between the football field and the tennis court area?
Yes, that was what I had in mind, something like that, or just jogging over.
Like go over a block, right? Is that what
Yeah,
you?
like going, there are no sidewalks there either, but it looks to me like it might be easier to make sidewalks there.
And less traveled
Yeah,
also, yeah. That's what I've wondered
I
as well.
don't know what you do for crossing that street for kids to get to the front door of the high school is the issue there.
Is there a possibility to continue the sidewalk on the west side of Plum? I mean, that's where it's at right now. I mean, when you walk along there and you look at, we're trying to figure it out, try to offer opportunities, ideas.
Cause
If
the
you
stop,
jump over to the park, there seems to be more obstacles. And then when you're talking about you're dealing with grade, and then you have to introduce, pavers, et cetera, to deal with grade. I think the least resistance would be on the west side to continue it up. The problem being you'd run into Carlson's house.
Yes, that's what I was gonna
That's-
say,
And then
yeah.
that sidewalk would be their front porch.
Mhm,
But I
exactly.
mean, if you had the sidewalk up until then,
And then
and
come
then-
over.
maybe that's where you dump people out the street and then they can curve back in again. But,
yeah,
you
any sidewalk
understand the
there.
code and that house really shouldn't be there. Because it doesn't, I know it's gonna be grandfathered in, I know nothing's gonna become of it, but that's why the code is there, to provide for these kind of services. And, is it, we're gonna be around for how many more years, I don't know. The town's gonna be even further, but do we let this one house stand in front of the way of safety for Plum Street? Or is there an option to buy that so that they can't sell it and then the city absorbs it and then, 'cause I'm guessing it was originally a garage that was turned into a house.
Well, that, I don't know.
But
yeah, either which way, even if we're just dumping out at Carlson's, that's a lot safer than
yeah,
the whole entire
and
street not having one.
And you might make the argument that everybody should have a sidewalk. I know the reality of that. It's not gonna happen. But if we could get main arteries to like the school, because once you get to the school, there's all kinds of sidewalks. You can almost get to anywhere in town safely. But it's just kind of getting up that last couple legs to the school. I know students probably wouldn't like that idea, having a sidewalk in the front yard, but
I don't have to have a retaining wall or something along the front, because you have to cut into the.
well, I looked about.
Put a moat up
that,
for you.
but it seems like it would be more work on the park side.
I don't know, that's where the engineers would come in.
Where it cuts through where Bob Rick is over behind Bob Rick.
Behind his house. Mhm,
taking it to 1:30.
mhm. I think that's.
Chief, did you have
what
anything?
they were saying
No?
With the first one.
I like the idea. I thought at one time the trail system was supposed to be incorporated into the park and that part.
Yeah.
When it was brought up, oh gosh, before the new sidewalk was put in over on North, and they talked
I'd
about the
watch
trail
it turn
system
and go to,
being somewhere in the park area. not
go up
specific.
to Jim
And that would
Steps.
alleviate that one, was it 3 blocks?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Which I think as long as we're going forward with the trail system, that would help with that part.
All right, but yeah, since the engineers are here, we'll,
Yeah, we'll have them look at it. Now, you know, the trail through the park isn't really a near term. You know, we weren't, well, I guess I can't say when we're looking at it, but it's not something that's on the project list yet. We applied for grant funding for it last year. We'd like to apply again. Maybe have a stronger application if we can do that. Yeah, but as the mayor said, we'll have the engineer look at it.
Okay. Now, understand, we're not complaining about snow removal. You know, the guys do great, you know. We didn't go out on a nasty day, you know better. And it was a nice day, like she said.
Mhm.
The streets were nice, and we just kind of wanted to get the way out of the car. She's down, she goes, she went down hard, so. Just don't want to see that happen.
definitely.
Did he carry you home, Christie?
No, we talked about it.
You do it now.
All right, well, thank you for coming in and expressing your concerns.
We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yep. And like I said, our other one is scheduled and he still hasn't, or not still, but he hasn't come in yet. Do we want to discuss this at all? You guys see it? It's a,
You're
Yeah.
talking about the shutting off the.
Yeah.
Which we've already done once before.
yeah, we did it last summer,
There was
so,
no complaints about it whatsoever, I heard.
so then would be direct the city staff to work with Boots.
I'm good with that, yeah.
All right.
You want my opinion on that?
Yeah.
It actually went really well.
Yeah, I thought so.
They had things very organized, they had fencing up, they were
Okay.
staffed to, basically make sure that it was safe,
Okay, that's right.
they weren't letting like underage people in. I know at one time somebody initially thought that would be a concern, but it never has been. I've gone to a handful of their outdoor music events, and they're very nice, and I think that they've done a really nice thing.
Awesome.
So from our point of view, we haven't had to deal with any bad issues from them last year.
Yeah,
All right.
That's what I thought too. And we never, I mean, there was no complaints from parties or anything that I'm aware of, so. Yeah, I think,
So then I would entertain a motion to direct city staff to work with L&B on their
motion,
street closures
As proposed.
as proposed.
as proposed motion.
Cummins with the first
I'll second.
and Helm with the second.
McNeil,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Posturing,
Yes.
Cummins.
All right, then we're gonna move on to, then I'll close that portion of the meeting. We'll move on to the consent agenda, and these are items that can be enacted with one motion. It's the approval of the council meeting minutes from January 23rd of 2023. Approval of the special council meeting minutes from January 26th of 2023. Approval of the amendment number 1 to the engineering services agreement for the North Plum Street pavement improvement project at $6,500. Approval of a drip reimbursement to Marcia Myers at 415 Cedar Street in the amount of $7,500, and the approval of the claims register, which includes claims paid under the current purchase policy. Do any of these need to be pulled out? Seeing there is none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion. Second.
McNeil with the first and Cummins with the second.
McNeil,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Posturing,
Yes.
Cummins.
Yeah.
All right, so the first one under city business then is a resolution that would approve a 3-year extension to the Tipton Masonic Cemetery contract with Grasshopper Lawn Care. There, Brian?
You discussed this with Dan Kessler at the last meeting, and the question was, did you want to go out for bids or did you want to look at an extension? And the council seemed to favor extension. And so he gave a proposal that right now in the current year, it's $35,000. That's for the year, for the whole year in equal payments monthly. He mentioned at the meeting that he would keep it at that and extend it for 3 years, but then he wanted a fuel adder when gas would go up over $4 a gallon. But his proposal came in with the fuel adder plus 37,000 each year for 3 years. And I proposed that maybe the council would go for the idea of the 37,000 each year if he would drop the fuel adder provision. And he was agreeable to that. 37,000 a year comes to an increase of 5.7%. That's over the 3 years. I mean, if you averaged it out, it's 1.9% a year. So if he's happy with it, I think it's a good, reasonable deal for the city if the council is okay with it. This resolution takes the terms of the Sexton or the cemetery contract of 2019, and it keeps those terms. It extends them for the 3 years. The only modification is the annual payment amount.
Any questions or comments on this? Is there a motion to approve this 3-year extension?
Motion.
Helm with the first,
Second.
and Poston with the second.
Helm,
Yes.
Hodgson,
Yes.
Cummins, McNeil.
Yes.
All right, so the next one, it's a discussion of possible action concerning an engineering proposal with the company of KPE for structural services at the Aquatic Center for that new dehumidification unit. Dan Strain, he is currently online with us. So if you guys have any questions, or Dan, if you just want to introduce yourself, you definitely can. Maybe. Your mic's not on, Dan.
Hey, Alf. I'm Dan with KPE out of Omaha. I've been with KPE for 11 years, mechanical engineer, and I'm here for any questions regarding the proposal.
Just to give a little bit of background, KPE came originally to us as the forensic engineer to look at the situation between HBK, the previous engineer, and the general contractor concerning problems with the attempted rehab of the rooftop units that are there now. So since they've become familiar with the project in that sense, we asked for a proposal, because if you think back to March of last year, as I wrote to the council, we had an attorney opinion saying that the purchase could be done under the premise of it being an emergency and that it wouldn't have to be bid. And one of the contributing factors to that was we knew back then of the long lead time for ordering the new unit. And the new unit isn't here yet. It's only supposed to come this week. But since that time, we're looking at having the installation done not sooner than April, because we don't want there to be any type of danger of snow or frost or whatever on the current roof. So they want that to pass. So then it comes up, well, is the installation the same type of emergency that we had a year ago when the unit ordered? And the attorney's opinion was, yeah, it probably can't be called an emergency anymore. So that brings up hiring for plans and specs or design engineering for the installation of the rooftop unit that's coming. And so, as I understand it, there would be categories for the mechanical, the roof, and electrical. And so the proposal we have from KPE, we enclosed, it looks like there are 3 specific scopes of work in the proposal. It looks like we would be, if I'm not correct, let me know, Dan, but it looks like we're looking at all 3 of these.
Correct.
Do you want to go into any of the design, what you're looking at with your end
Yeah,
of the project?
yeah, I'll kind of give a rundown. So the basis, the just design portion of it has architectural, structural, mechanical, and electrical all involved. So the architectural portion of it is to provide a specification for the paint that would go to repaint, and we'll coordinate with Sherwin-Williams or whoever we need to make sure the correct paint is involved. And then there'll be notes on the drawings for cabin. So you have 2 units now, and you're going to 1 unit. So there'll be notes for capping the existing either curbs or patching the roof to maintain that warranty for when those units get removed and the 1 unit goes back on. And then there'll be structural for the evaluation of the existing roof structure, since it's 1 and it's going to be a much larger and heavier unit, and the design of reinforcement if needed. And then for mechanical, we'll so there's that fabric duct that goes around. It doesn't appear to match the original drawings, and Kevin thought maybe there was Kevin Power in our office thought maybe that was already modified, but we'll review the ductwork to make sure that that's we've done plenty of pools, natatoriums before, so we'll review the ductwork to make sure that that's up to design standards. And then we're going to verify the unit sizing is correct, and then we'll size the gas piping to that new unit and size and design the condensate when it's cooling, and then verify all the exhaust rates. So we're basically going to verify this whole design is correct since there's been issues. And then on the electrical side, we'll have on the drawings to remove the 2 existing units, and then there'll need to be some type of changes with that. With going to 1 unit, there'll need to be breaker changes and stuff. So we'll cover all that. So that's the design portion of it. The controls is the second scope, and this one was, so we would provide a specification and what they call a points list. We basically, we understand there's a building automation system there, so there's a control system at the building. This unit can run by itself, but if you want it to be integrated into that to where it provides alarms or it notifies somebody, that would just be providing those certain things to connect to that control system. And then the third scope of work is the bidding and CACO, where I'll come out there for a pre-bid after it's been designed. We'll answer RFIs from the contractors. We'll do requests for payments for the city if they want, where we'll sign off on their pay app. Now there might only be 1 or 2. And then we'll take 1 intermediate site visit and 1 punch list at the end. The punch list at the end is basically saying we'll review what's installed and make sure it's installed according to the drawings. So that's probably a lot, but that's the rundown of the scopes. You can just do the design if you want. You can do all 3 of them if you want. That's kind of why we gave you the options, because we weren't sure exactly what we were needing versus what not needing.
I think we're looking at all 3. I mean, if we're going to have it designed and then put out for bids, it's only natural that we have the engineering firm involved, all the complete every step of the way. I mean, nobody likes this. Nobody, feels like constantly talking about the aquatic center, but I'm told that this new roof unit, I've been told by more than one source that it works really well. And it's been installed at various YMCA's and they've been happy with it. Now, I hope that's the case here, because it's coming in this week if it isn't here yet. But I think we want to make sure that it's put in right. We're working that out, but it looked like, Dan, you had a preliminary schedule where bids go out and, well, you want to mention that?
Yeah, so I had a schedule of we'd come out this week or next week to do some field work there. But basically we could be done with our design March 10th, which we could put the drawings out on Monday, March 13th, put the drawings out to bid. And then it would be like a Tuesday, March 21st, we could do a pre-bid meeting. And then have the bids received on the 28th. So I could be out there for the pre-bid, and then the bids received would be handled by the city on the 28th. And then as of today, there was some more information on. You guys will have to conduct a public hearing. So this will be worked out. But I was thinking that if you did that the 30th or the 31st, then you could award the bid at your April 3rd council meeting.
I think we're gonna have to discuss that.
Yep, and that's fine.
I mean, I've always asked that we have the public hearing ahead of the bid opening, because it doesn't look valid if you have a public hearing on plans and specs after the bids are open. So anyway, I think it's good to mention this to the council, because in order to fit that timeline, we might have to ask you to do 1 or 2 short special meetings in order to make it work.
So you're saying you want to do the public hearing before the bids are opened? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because we usually see it the other way around where it's afterward, but that way the bids are, they know what the bids are at the public hearing, but
But then it's too late to change anything. I mean, that's the way I was looking at
okay.
it. Sorry.
No, that's, we could, yeah.
Does anybody got any comments, questions? Rail on the pool, yeah.
Well, we need to
Sucks.
get going on it.
Yeah.
It's been a wound.
Yep.
It won't heal.
Hopefully this will be the last time.
Uh-huh. There isn't a lot of choice, folks.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what the alternative is. You don't want to horse around with this unit.
Be delivered this week though?
Well, Adam's online. Adam Spangler, can you answer that about do you know anything new about the delivery of the rooftop unit?
It's supposed to be delivered on Wednesday between 8 and 9. This Wednesday.
When?
And we're gonna put it on the parking lots, and we're gonna put snow fence around it so no one messes with it.
Yeah, it's $450.
Because we can't really put it on grass or soft ground to sink because it's 15,000 pounds.
You don't have a room in your house?
No, actually, we're gonna put it on your driveway, Abby.
You need security, don't it?
I know. Adam had talked about trying to get it onto the cement on the east side of it, but we need a crane for that.
Yeah, this is not enough room. We were planning on maybe thinking like putting it on the west side inside the fence, but that's all grass right there. And it'd be pretty tight. So after talking, Brian and I met with Kraus last week, and he said, yeah, you want to put it on a solid surface, and he agreed we couldn't fit it over on the east side. So
Yeah, I don't see any other alternative.
No. All right, is there a motion for this? Cummins with the first,
Yeah, second.
McNeil with the second.
Postian,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yeah.
McNeil,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
All right, and down to our third. Oh, thank you, Dan, for coming on.
Sure, no problem.
And now on our final one tonight is discussion and possible action that concerns a study proposal, solar for the city with Latham, Irvin, and Varnison and Associates.
You know, suddenly I feel like I want to table this.
We just spent our money.
I was gonna say, I'm in favor of that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
second that.
Maybe it would be helpful too if I could have a representative from that firm here
Right.
to talk more about it. Yeah, let's
All right,
table
I will entertain a motion to table.
Motion.
Second.
McNeil with the first and Cummins with the second.
Cummins,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Postian,
Yes.
All right, then it takes us down to the reports, mayor's report. I don't have anything this week. Council, committees, city manager.
Just a reminder that your second meeting in February was rescheduled to the 27th.
All right, and department head. All right, then that takes us down to adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Foster with the first and Helm with the second.
McNeil,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Postian,
Yes.
Cummins.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, everyone. We are adjourned.